MKS kicks off again soon. Week 2, we've got a couple interesting events, and we're going to sit down and talk about how we see these shaping up. Just to sort of give a little bit of background, we've got the Backroads Challenge, the Monster Energy, a lot of short tracks, a lot of things that, we talked about last week, Midas being dominant in these open, made-for-driving situations, but these are going to be tight, dirty brawler situations almost. And then we follow that up with a water level. I really don't know how any of these racers are going to fare in these heavy, heavy water levels. But Scott, how do you see this weekend unfolding?
It's a little surprising that, the Saudi prince or king or whoever organizes this would put this Backroad Challenge together with, Midas being their big get. Because, we've said it before, you put Midas on a paved road with, it's like kind of, no hairpin turns.
Catch me if you can.
But yeah, you're not going to catch him. You're not going to catch him. So to now, all of a sudden, the second race day, force them into these closed quarters, the dirt roads. I don't know if that's going to work out well for MKS. I think they might, I don't know if you want to put your star in that kind of a situation where there's an opportunity to look bad, because now all of a sudden, if he's off the podium, if he's, in 6th, getting passed by some of these newbies like Lucky and Bebo and things like that, what's this Saudi king and what's Swanky going to be thinking? That shiny toy they paid so much for is now just in the middle of the pack. So I don't know. I'm not predicting a big weekend for Midas. That's my official prediction. I just don't think it's his event.
Yeah, and what's the deal with him and water? He's so heavy, he's going to sink to the bottom. Is he slower in these things? Like,
could be
there's
faster.
that issue. And then can you rust? I don't know the situation with, I know he's painted gold, and I don't want to speak out of turn. He says that he's plated in gold. And I'd like to see any certificate about this. My understanding is that he's just sort of iron, and he had a nice paint job. Because MK1, I did the math on it. They're not paying him enough. Anyway, it's maybe he took out a loan. We can come on and dispute this all he wants. But, I just think he could rust in the water. He could have a lot of troubles with his weight. He could sink to the bottom and get stuck on cheap beach. Maybe some... 20 years from now, the tide comes in and all of a sudden we're digging him up, Pirates of the Caribbean treasure style. But I don't know. It's difficult to see these events. And I agree with you. Not so much in terms of the Saudis' choice to do these events, because these are classic. This is a classic invitation. And if you look through the schedule for the MKS League, I think that the purpose of it is a lot of variety of different types of racing. So in order to win, you've got to be an all-round racer. And I think that they have the faith in him that he is the best all-round racer. This weekend might be a little tough for him, but I think that drama and him overcoming it and him sort of fighting through that throughout the season, maybe getting some more events that speak to his strengths, and he can sort of learn to brawl. He loves to throw those items around. I don't know. I think that it's going to be fun to see, but I agree that Midas is going to struggle. So if Midas is struggling in these events, who do you see as being maybe the favorite for them?
Well, it's you talk about brawling, and I actually think it's going to go the other way. I think some of these thick racers, Shell, 6'7", what is he, 280, 290, yeah. Slam.
Oh, probably 300.
Probably 300. Slam's like 6'5", 280. Yeah. Pam is big. We don't know her dimensions, but I've studied them carefully.
Okay. I'd love to, off mic, maybe hear a little bit more about these scientific reports that you've done.
Yeah, I shouldn't talk about it, but I have some photos.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Let's get her in a wind tunnel, perhaps, and
yeah. I think some of these smaller races, I'm actually expecting a big weekend from Lucky, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say Lucky podiums. I think it's going to be for the...
Oh, I like that. That's interesting.
It's going to be a lucky weekend for Lucky. But yeah, I think he's going to do well.
It's interesting. I like that a lot, and not to tip my cap too much, but behind the scenes, Lucky and I have been doing a few little things that you might see the Bet MK, ads with a little luck in them in the future. But
are you feeling lucky?
That. What's that?
Are you feeling lucky?
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too. But yeah, I
Okay.
think some of these, I think T Money could have a big weekend too. I think,
I think she's pissed off. She's a great racer, and I don't want to say underperformed, but I think she got caught up in some of these rookie racers, maybe didn't take them seriously enough as a veteran of
I
the
think it
sport.
maybe went to her head being, recruited like MKS did for her. They paid her the big
Yeah.
money and, hey, I've been saying it for a while. I don't know if she was worth it. She wasn't exactly, a marquee racer in MK1, but they saw something, and I think the first weekend they might have been a little disappointed. So maybe this weekend she comes out, pissed off, guns a blazing, starts taking out some of these big names, and stands on top of that podium.
Yeah, and it's kind of shocking. Had her as, I think, a team captain, or not quite, a number 4 maybe. Oh, was it a team captain?
I think,
I don't
yeah,
even
you had her.
remember.
You were higher on her than I was, but
Yeah. No, I had her as a team captain. I do remember that now. I was shocked that she dropped all the way down to 5th. And the thing about it is that I think she's got that racing skill, but we didn't expect Lucky to be here at this point. I kind of at least slotted her in for Champions League. And between her, CBK, and Lucky, there's a big brawl going on for that. And Lucky's got a good advantage on it right now. And just watching him race last week, he was the best of the 3 by far. And I think I like what you're saying about him being on that podium too.
yeah, and I'm going to be watching this weekend with a big plate of ribs in front of me and just seeing Bebo struggle
Okay.
is my prediction with my bib on, and it's going to drive him crazy seeing me with those ribs. So,
Yeah, and I mean,
I know
wouldn't mind him sort of, pouting after the finish line, and maybe I walk right up and I wipe my hand on his bib and I say, thanks. This is what a bib is for.
Yeah.
It's not for racing, or, I don't know, maybe you're drooling all over yourself as you race. Maybe you've got barbecue sauce on your hands and that's why you can't turn when you go through a waterfall. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, welcome to Rib
Yeah.
Fest, Bebo, where that's what men eat, not little babies in
Yeah.
bibs, right?
Yeah, I know. That kid. I mean,
You think Bloshi
but
might...
I'm worried about that kid too. I think in the future he could be quite good.
You're worried about that kid? Are you worried about Bloshi? Because...
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I'm not worried about him on the track. I'll tell you that much.
You're worried about him off the track. I mean, it's weird. 'Cause some of our footage of Bloshi finishing last it's gone missing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a little weird. The Saudis, they said, you can't. They confiscated a lot of the Bloshi footage, and I'm not sure what they're doing with it or what, but it's a little weird because I guess we'll look into this. But when we landed the plane, there were a lot of billboards in Riyadh, and they had number 1 racer. They had lots of clips that looked, and I'm thinking, this is me when I'm quite drunk coming off the plane. I've come down a little bit, but I wasn't quite coherent. But I was looking at it and I was going, "Does this say it's first place?" And it's just I don't fully understand what's going on, but it does. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like there's a bit of an alternative reality for the Saudi people with this Bloshi kid.
Yeah, I know some people have warned us to not, maybe talk so negatively about him. Because I know there's been some other stuff with some journalists in Saudi, but not us.
No, definitely
yeah,
not.
come at us. See how that works out for you. But we call it as we see it.
I think that will be okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not. We're from Tampa. I think.
Tampa strong.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. But
Tampa strong.
yeah, yeah. I mean, hopefully that kid can not finish last.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember when we visited the first time, and I talked about us going out in this car and having fun in it, but I did kind of gloss over the fact that he did drive us out to the desert, and everybody was sort of laughing in the car. I was laughing along, and he's saying, if you cross me once, we're gonna he was saying some pretty graphic stuff to me, and it wasn't that funny, but you got to laugh along when everyone else is laughing along, right?
Yeah, I mean it's different culture here, right? Like sarcasm is a little different, but.
And then we went to the beach, which was fun.
Oh yeah, I remember that day.
But yeah, all right, let's wrap this up with sort of what's your podium look like, or what's the standings look like after this weekend? Who are your 1, 2, and 3? Right now we got Shell with 25 points. Or I'm thinking about the other league. Midas, Pam with 24, and I think Slam with about, is it 19 or 20?
I think I'm going to say the podium stays pretty static. But I think the gap narrows between the podium and those other racers. I think Slam's going to be nipping at their heels, and I think Lucky, Team Money is going to be right up there.
Yeah, and we saw Pam get 2 second-place finishes, really competitive, come down to the final race each time for her to decide whether she won or lost. Is she going to finally get that first place because she's been nipping at the heels? Or was last week just a flash in the pan?
Oh, flash in the pan?
Boy.
I don't know. We've seen it with these rookies. You got all the skills, but you don't have that killer instinct. That might be Pam. So we'll have to wait and see if she can actually, seal the deal.